If you put every Disney villain in a room, who would be killed first? Who would come out on top? That's what we're gonna learn today. Which Disney villains are strong? Which are weak? Which are the best? Here we go.
But we're ranking him as the least powerful. He was a troublemaker in many of the shorts and films.
Pete?
He appeared in many forms and themes, but he isn't much of a threat by himself.
You do hate him, Marty.
He's just a guy. And also, he's lost a foot. Is he a war vet? Well, I'd say he's probably pretty strong. Isn't Pete a dad? Pete has dad strength. We need to take this into consideration here. When it comes to Pete's feats, he can probably lift a car. That's a lot of dad strength there.
In Kingdom Hearts, he's nothing more than Maleficent's lackey. And for majority of the other times, he's pretty inefficient. Or he's just loud and obnoxious. In the Goofy movie, for example, he was just a stern, single father who picked on his son.
He does have dad strength.
Bigger. To be honest, Pete's just...
Oh, he's not a good dad, though. See, only good dads have dad strength. If you're a bad dad, you lose access to that buff.
Kind of a loser. Hook is the commander of the Jolly Roger, but was
Captain Hook, doesn't he never age? That's pretty strong.
They stayed in Neverland, hunting Peter and the Lost Boys. The only thing that kept his crew in line was fear.
I know, I feel Captain Hook has a pretty good skill set. He's got a sword, he's got a hook, he has his full captain's crew, but they probably have very low morale and will scatter very quickly.
And has made a fool of himself quite a bit. Medusa had been a force to be reckoned with.
Medusa.
A kidnapper, a trainer of giant crocodiles, and a manipulator.
Ooh, the crocs are a big buff, that's true.
The easiest way possible.
Look at it.
To be honest, she could have gone far.
Yeah, I don't think the Captain Hook can beat the crocs. And she has a gun too.
And living a cushy life. And she has a bumbling personality, making it difficult to take her too seriously. Edgar was
she's a
much
bit
like
stupid.
Medusa, in the way that he was determined to finally have his comfortable life.
They will be gone. I'll think of a way.
But
Edgar.
unlike Medusa,
Which one is this from again? As also, did I post that? Oh no, the playback speed's on high again. No, I forgot. I'm so used to watching videos at 1.25 times speed, I forget to turn it back down when I react to stuff.
About his true intentions, he was actually very close to achieving this goal.
He's just an old man. He's not very strong. I still think Captain Hook and Medusa, a woman with a gun and 2 crocodiles, probably could beat him up, right?
Is a horrible woman without a doubt.
Oh yeah, she has no holding backs whatsoever. She would do anything. She would kill a family, 2 families, maybe even 3 families.
She comes off as nothing short of insane. I mean, she has connections to the crime world, a horrible driving record, and the ultimate goal to have a
She has a car as well. That's pretty good.
Beautiful coat.
But
if you can't kill a dog, then you're not that strong.
She can be intimidating and has run trucks straight off the road. She would gladly hire anyone to do her dirty work for her.
Mercenaries at the disposal as well.
John Silver was captain of his pirate crew and much more sensible than the people he hired. He had to put Scroot back in line a number of times, using his cyborg.
He does look strong. Also, he has a mechanical arm. That's a huge buff.
Ruthless reputation. Like Edgar, he was good at playing the role of an obedient worker, even giving compliments to the current captain and training Jim on how to live
He's a ton of
aboard the ship.
augmentations.
A tight ship's a happy
He's a
ship.
strong one, he is.
The man is able to use his limbs as torches, knives, and other such tools, which makes him unpredictable
And guns?
dangerous when he chooses
Cannons.
to be. Moving on to Oogie Boogie. Though happy to torment Santa and Sally, he didn't do much as far as damage.
Isn't this guy just made up of worms? I don't know how strong you can be when you're just a collection of
He had a
worms.
unique ability of manifesting games of chance, and had been known as a vile creature by the people of Halloween Town. But all in all, he's not really all that powerful.
No, he should be at the back then.
I mean, his
Surely he can't beat John Silver, who has a cannon in his arm.
over 3 children, and didn't take much effort to rip him open and drain his insides. As we mentioned in the Disney
nice.
villains,
Yeah, there it
he
is.
the most evil. He's definitely one of the most morally reprehensible. But his
Jesus
power level
Christ.
doesn't go too far past having an incredible singing voice.
What do you think is going to be the strongest Disney villain? It's a hard one to pick, to be honest. It really depends, because you have to take into consideration personal fighting talent, their skill set, their equipment that they have access to, the influence that they can wield.
Hans was
So there's a
the
lot going on
ultimate
there.
Two-faced creep. He was the bottom rung of his family and tried to marry into the throne, no matter who it was with or what methods he had to use.
Because he's ginger, isn't he? That's why he's the villain.
We live here? Here?
Absolutely.
He used his
He does
standing
not
with
look like a
Anna to
villain.
have authority over Arendelle, and then used the trust he'd earned as a leader to kill Elsa. Had Anna not interfered, she would have frozen to death. Elsa would have fallen to his blade, and he would have gained a kingdom all his own. Lady
He almost got away with it too if it
more
wasn't for those meddling cold kids.
ambitious the more time she had on screen. In the sequels, she goes from trying to have her daughters marry into nobility to twisting time with the fairy godmother's wand to ruin Cinderella's life.
If you have access to a fairy godmother's wand, you have to be at least in the upper echelons. That's wish granting power there.
She was able to use magic to twist the prince's memories of the ball and had the authority with the guards to banish Cinderella. Luckily, she wasn't in power long, but she's
pretty high up.
Superiority to gain a higher standing.
She can even access frog form, which boosts her power tenfold.
To Governor Ratcliffe. Greedy, violent, and xenophobic, Ratcliffe is a heartless villain. Certainly in something of a position of power, he doesn't wield as much as assumed.
My land! I make the laws here.
For instance, he admits he never had been a popular man, and his peers refer to him as a pathetic social climber.
Oh, so he's technically in a position of power, but he doesn't have the respect of the people under him, so he can't really wield it. He doesn't have a lot of political capital there.
He doesn't seem to at least command respect from his troops, which is where he becomes a genuine threat.
Oh, he has troops? Okay, if you have access to even a small army,
Bill Sykes was a
you're
small-time mob boss that relied more on his two
boss.
dogs than other people. He had the ability to terrorize a variety of individuals, but instead preyed on Fagin and others in his position.
People like you get hurt.
He's heard
Does a modern mob boss wield more power than 1800s governor? It's hard to tell because he has access to better weapons, but he likely has less people on his side. And also troops and soldiers of the army are probably going to be more loyal than, you know, just random criminals and people that you have in the mafia.
talking on the phone after
I could be wrong, though.
kidnapping Penny to take another person out, but we don't see him run much of a group. He's more the type to prefer working hands-on with those he uses.
He's
Otherwise,
big,
could
though.
have been
He
a
is
very
huge.
ruthless leader
But he's
of the
old, so
criminal
that slows him
underground.
down.
Speaking of, Ratigan is next. He was
What?
not only an elegant rat
That's a
with
rat.
large following, but he had high ambitions to be the next ruler. He knew what buttons to
he
press to
likes
get
that
people to
one.
do
He's
as
like,
he
"Oh,
wanted,"
hello."
As he had high enough intellect that he almost
Oh, that's a
always escaped
doll.
Basil's grasp.
The superior mind has triumphed.
Dude, that's a rat. You can't say that he's powerful. He's tiny.
What?
He was close
How's
to
a
his
rat gonna
goal,
be a mob
having
boss?
broken the toy maker and Basil's spirit for a long while. But he hadn't counted on how much Dawson would kick the detective into action. On to Clayton. He was a successful poacher and had many allies among the trade route, which was a tricky thing to accomplish. He's also a manly dude. He's
also
into the
huge!
jungle and fight high up in the
That's
trees.
how I'm trying to be.
Gun.
He's kind of like the governor, but a bit more powerful. He's like personally stronger and probably commands more loyalty because he has charisma.
I need without you.
I mean, he's not smart enough to avoid hanging himself, but still. Moving on
But
to
he
another
did commit
hunter,
Sudoku,
we
that's
have
true.
Gaston. Gaston was a hero to the town, but a terror.
Gaston is very powerful. His power level, I don't know. We're talking like early Saiyan Saga. Gaston's huge. He's yoked. He has the respect of everybody in town. He's a proficient hunter. He can use arrows and guns. He can use swords. Like, he's a strong one.
He was a capable hunter, strong enough to lift numerous people at once and lead a
On
mob.
one arm.
He could have easily gained more as a soldier or governor.
I say we kill the beast.
Despite how dumb he appears, he knew how to conduct shady deals to get his way, relying on blackmail when charm and force didn't work. The only reason we give him the edge over Clayton is because Gaston has a surprising amount of influence for someone of his ignorance. Prince
He's like stupidly smart.
John was also good at getting people to
Oh,
bow to his wants.
dude.
He sent his
Oh, it's been so long since I watched this movie. Oh my god, I love this one. This is gonna be one of my favorite Disney movies of all time. Oh, I
brother
love
off to
Robin
the
Hood.
Crusades so that he could rule without being regulated and tax his people to the point where they were too poor to leave and unable to fight back.
Beautiful, lovely taxes.
He used a death sentence
Lovely taxes, yes. He's actually quite smart. He has all of the local power. He has soldiers under his heel that have to work for him or they'll be too poor due to the taxes. He's really got all. He's done a good
dared to
job.
oppose him.
I mean, a bad
and used his
job. He's a bad
crown
guy.
To make up for his low self-esteem. The Duke of Wesselton was a more open and ruthless figure. He
looks like a nice guy.
among royals, as long as it means he can get something out of it. He tried prying information from Anna, declared Elsa a threat to be taken out, and only played nice with Hans, since the man was the closest leader Arendelle had while the sisters were absent.
He is a duke, though.
Hans was
Dukes have quite big armies. We're talking like thousands of men at this
an
point.
excellent actor, but the Duke raised and trained on how to swim among the higher elite. He gets his higher
And he's good at the
rankings
political
because of
game.
His political power.
Yep,
Yzma
that makes
was
sense.
briefly emperor and a cunning scientist, though she did.
And he also lives in a more technologically advanced era than Prince John, so, you know, he's going to go up against longswordmen with his, I assume, more technologically advanced army, even if he has less people than a prince.
Sorting her vials, she was able to create some off-the-wall things.
He's supposed to be dead!
And this
Okay, Yzma is not very good. Yzma should not be this high. She is the ability to turn a man into a llama, but not the ability to actually kill anyone, which Prince John and everyone below him pretty much did.
Scores her some big points. She could have easily used that ability to take out anyone who opposed her, but unfortunately for her, she usually fails to pay attention to the small details, which ultimately thwarts her plans.
She has a lot of competence, or she has a lot of technical skill, but not a lot of competence.
Mother Gothel was like Medusa, in that she was a successful kidnapper, but her tactic was a little different, taking Rapunzel at a very young age to convince the girl she was her mother, and make it more difficult for Rapunzel to leave the tower.
You are not leaving this tower! Ever!
And words don't sway her victims. This may not seem like true power, but it really is, and arguably an even more dangerous type of power because of how it flies under the radar.
I don't know if I necessarily agree with that. I don't think that just being able to kill someone makes you a strong person, even if other leaders in that position probably wouldn't be able to do it. Like, she could kill someone, but she doesn't really use that much magic, so not a huge amount of straight power there.
With impressive magic. But she
okay,
also
magic does put you up there.
She tends not to have much of a plan and dives into confrontations without much thought.
Oh, you want to play rough, do you?
It doesn't do much good to turn into a dragon if your only goal is to make another spellcaster feel inferior. Still, we can't deny.
Yeah, it does. What are you kidding? Are you kidding me? Beat a dragon? It's crazy. Nah, I don't think that she should be that high either. I mean, magic does give you a massive buff against regular humans, but when you're going up against literal armies, you can't beat that with just turning into a dragon. You got armies of longbowmen that can shoot you down.
Spellcaster, but he was just a shady businessman that knew how to trick young boys into letting their guard down. So
okay, a shady businessman is not stronger than a prince.
He had slave labor to use.
Oh no,
honestly,
that's bad.
One of the most effed up villains in Disney history.
Okay, yeah, he's evil, but that doesn't make him strong.
An abundance of anything a young boy would find tempting, from cigars and booze to candy and fun carnival rides. It's unclear how
he's so evil.
These things, but we can only guess he has a vast network of connections from selling the boys off once they changed into donkeys. The Queen of
that's so
Hearts
messed
was a
up.
merciless ruler.
Okay, Queen of Hearts, we're talking queen level, that's entire countries. We're talking armies of maybe even tens of thousands of playing cards or whatever she's got.
Her
or maybe she just have 52 playing cards, actually. Maybe her army is very small.
In fashion. She was dangerous because she was unpredictable. Anything from a game to having tea could set her off. And we have to rank her this high because she really knew how to keep her kingdom in line. Everybody genuinely feared her.
But fear is not as good of a motivator as love is. If you have a villain that has his subjects genuinely love and would die for him, that's better than fear, because fear, eventually that breaks down. Eventually morale will break and they'll run away instead of dying for the person.
Next
so
up, we have
definitely could be better.
Plot twist villain, Bellwether from Zootopia.
Are you serious?
Physically, she certainly doesn't even come close to ranking with the big baddies.
Does she have a gun?
Intelligence and manipulation
She has a gun.
that really allow her to pull off a lot.
Officer Hobbs is down. Please hurry.
When you factor in the threat she was to Utopia and power she briefly held over it, all while flying under the radar, you really can't deny her power. And
to be honest, being like a chief of modern police, I don't know exactly, I haven't seen Zootopia, I don't know what she was, but wielding power in a modern police force, especially if we're talking like an American police force, that's basically a military in and of itself. A modern police force in America, dude, they have insane things. They have like riot shields, they have assault rifles, they have SWAT teams, they have like tanks and shit.
Villains like the Queen of Hearts, she doesn't reveal her
They have
cards
insane
until
armored
she has
vehicles.
to.
Wielding that kind of influence, that's
Turbo,
strong.
As we find out, was a master of disguise. He was
okay.
programmed from a dated racing game, and since his initial game hop, he found ways to constantly update himself and shift the world he was in, so no one knew the game was even tampered with.
Ooh, that is powerful. I was like, oh, he doesn't look like he's that strong. King Candy is bald. What's he gonna do? But if you have the ability to shape the world around you, that's pretty high level stuff right there.
Anything he disagreed with, he could just shut out of the game and pretend didn't exist. This may seem like a fun and goofy plotline, but contextually, this is a tremendous display of power.
No,
Being
that
able
is
to go
actually
into
huge.
Another digital world and take over is pretty serious. We can't forget about Lyle Tiberius Rourke from Atlantis The Lost Empire. Simply put, he's
I wonder if the video is comparing the villains to each other or in comparison to the world that they were in, how much power they actually wielded within that world. I guess maybe they're comparing it to the world rather than against each other, which makes a lot more sense, actually, when you put it into that context.
Much like other Disney villains, but his strong military training and leadership skills really separate him from others. He's physically strong, willing to do whatever it takes to achieve what he wants, and is both manipulative and adaptable to intense situations. Now
He's
we're
old,
really
though, that
getting
slows
into
him down.
monarch power. Scar knew how to twist things to get
Okay, yeah, we're definitely doing it in comparison to the world that they live in.
way.
Sure,
He
okay.
was smart enough to recruit the hyenas for his plot to take the throne, and everyone believed him without question when he gave the news Mufasa and Simba were dead.
So it is with a heavy heart.
His arm
Yeah, in terms of the Lion King world, Scar's hugely powerful. He has like insane charisma, incredible influence. He was the king's brother, so he has a royal bloodline. He has access to all of the hyenas in that army, but he can't be taken down by just another lion. For example, one boy,
army
Simba,
made him
he
nearly
just comes in and
impossible
claps
to
his cheeks.
challenge, and his downfall was trying to sell them out when confronted by Simba. Scar was physically weaker than his brother Mufasa, but he was smarter, more conniving and brutal, and he didn't have those pesky little ethics to stop him from clawing his way up the hierarchy.
He
Scar's
killed his own
power
brother.
Emulates many historical dictators, both communist and fascist, intelligent enough to
I love how they had to do the both sides thing. They're like, a lot of historical dictators on both sides.
hone in on fear and cast blame on other classes in order to rise to power,
I am the king. I can do whatever I want.
and cruel enough to kill those who got in his way. And like most
Yeah, he's
other
strong in the Lion
dictators,
King world,
the fall
super
after
strong.
His rise was brutal. Frollo was a nightmare politician, and the worst person that could ever be a parent. There's
Oh, he was a religion man back when religion was like the main
also an
meta.
argument for Frollo being the most vile villain Disney has ever created. He tried using fear to keep Quasimodo hidden away, and to try and keep the people of Paris from warming up to the gypsies.
These people are
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
He had a torture chamber in the Palace of Justice, and is heard having people
Justice?
whipped
It's ironic.
relentlessly just for being sympathetic to the people he deemed unworthy. The man even ordered an attack on Notre Dame that was obeyed without question.
That's messed up. He was attacking the
Power
cathedral?
is pretty vast, given the status he has in his city and government, but all that political power couldn't stop his one-way ticket to hell. Big Hero 6.
Yeah, he's pretty- I can't argue with that. That's pretty strong.
Yokai. He hunts down those
Yokai?
that crossed
Watch.
him after cloning Hero's technology. The fact that he's a robotics professor at San Francisco Institute of Technology shows
San
that he is
Francisco?
powerful.
I've never
The
seen this one
damage
before.
he does with this telepathic controlling of nanobots is what really makes him one of
Ooh,
the most
nanobots, modern
serious
technology,
threats.
that's pretty huge.
Shan Yu was the leader of the Hun army, so that alone ranks him pretty.
Yeah, literally, being the leader of the Han army back when they were at their peak, that is like top one powerful person in the
high
world.
when it comes to power level.
It's gonna
There's
be hard
never
to be
a time
stronger
in
than
the
this
film
dude.
where we see his men doubt him or try to take over commands loyalty.
And he comes
but also
complete
sees and
loyalty as
respect for
well.
his people. It was an almost brotherly banter as they discussed tactics and murder, and because of their joint efforts, they nearly succeeded in taking over the palace.
One of the most powerful militaries on the planet at that point, if not
Shan
the
Yu,
most powerful
in addition to
military.
being a ruthless leader, was also powerful as an individual, not only being willing to fight on his own, but loving every minute of it. Dr. Facilier was dubbed the Shadow Man for his use of voodoo magic. and was a
Oh,
tough man to
voodoo
take on.
magic.
He resorted
Uh-oh,
to
here we
using his
go.
friends on the other side. When things were looking riskier than he liked, it was only defeated because he got cocky and thought Tiana would be easy to buy off. Really?
The
power
only
that he
person who
wields
can
is some
defeat
of the most
me
terrifying in
is
all of
me.
Disney animation. It's veiled in mystery and can only be assumed to be endless torment. In the end, he was consumed by it, which showed that as powerful as the dark arts were, he didn't have the ability to totally control it.
That kind of brings him down a lot, though. If you don't have full command over your dark arts, then can't really say he's the
Continuing
strongest
through
thing.
the realm of royalty, we are now at the Evil Queen. She
Oh, her
had
magic's kind of insane too,
impressive
right?
Magic. She could manipulate age and appearance, summoned a lightning bolt for her potion, and was able to hunt down Snow White with the help of her magic mirror. We can't rank her any higher though, as she doesn't use the magic much past killing the princess.
Yeah, no, I don't know if she deserves to be this high. I think she deserves to be a lot lower because she has some decent magic potential, but if we're talking like grand scheme of things, she doesn't really use it for a whole lot. I mean, she's already queen to be fair, but
The woman had potential and just didn't use it as much as she could have. Otherwise, she likely wouldn't wouldn't have been chased through the woods to her death.
Yeah, if she was like really pog with magic, she could have just like Wingardium Leviosa her way back off the cliff and not gotten smashed by a rock. She could have done some cool magic to make herself immune or turn the rock into frogs or something like that. I don't know if she deserves to be this high.
On the other hand, knew how much magic to use and when to gain more power. She knew how to lure Ariel and was able to make it work as leverage for Triton. Like the evil queen, she also could change her appearance and voice to trick others, enchanting Eric so he didn't marry Ariel. Really? Ursula was smart and convincing enough to be manipulative. Her ruthlessness allowed her to seize power, and her magic
And she has
was some of the most
tentacles,
intense on the list.
which is hot. Oh yeah.
Too bad she became too big of a target once she had the power she craved. Jafar was
Yeah,
another magic
that's a problem with getting too big. Oh, Jafar had insane power.
who had some of the most aggressive magic of any Disney villain. He used it to influence the Sultan and gain power over the kingdom. Not only that, but he practically made himself a god, although it didn't last long. Even before
He made himself a god that got shoved into a lamp.
Utilize the genie, he had ways of finding people and using their desires against them. He had the guard which obeyed his every order, and a secret lab to plot his next move. He knew how to hide his true intentions, not suspected of anything until Aladdin showed up.
Make sure he's never found.
Heck, he worked his way up the Sultan's hierarchy using his quick wits and hypnotic magic. Hades gets a
Yeah, the problem with Jafar is that he kind of took himself down. He got too greedy, and he also didn't kill Aladdin himself. He was too cocky, he relied too much on henchmen. That's what took him down. Sometimes you gotta get your hands dirty.
spot simply
Also,
for
Hades
being
is
the
literally a
of the
god.
underworld. He's a schemer and clearly has immense power in his world. He knew how to be patient to get what he wanted, waiting 18 years for the stars to align in his favor. But once
Okay,
Hercules
18 years
was
for a
threat,
god is
he
basically now, though, if we're
completely
being
lost
honest.
his cool and resorted to emotional blackmail.
Isn't she more important than they
Stop
are?
it!
Isn't she?
But either way, the mere fact that he's able to create contracts that damn souls to an eternity of being in his possession is scary, and we can't take that away from him. Our bronze medal of power goes to Maleficent. She may
Stronger
have
than-
had weird
ooh, I don't know.
motivations for cursing
Maleficent?
Aurora, but she was said to be one
Convince
of the most
me.
powerful beings of that world.
Sure, okay.
With the fairies,
That's
only
pretty good
able to
magic.
twist her magic a little instead of being rid of it completely. She transformed into a giant dragon, could make countless thorns grow to slow her enemies down, had fire and lightning abilities when attacking, and could vanish from sight in an instant. On to the silver medal of power. The
All right,
Horned King
I'm a
was
little
not man
convinced.
of any specific goal. What
the hell is this
still
from?
One to be feared. His ambitions in the film mainly revolved around taking out anyone else with magical
I don't remember
abilities
this one.
and gaining as much power as possible. He was able
Yeah, he doesn't have a nose, though, so he doesn't have the power of smell, which is a massive
to raise
debuff.
and command the dead, and found ways of seeing into the lives of others. So he could take out any enemy before they became a threat. Not only is the Horned King likely the darkest Disney villain, he's also arguably the most powerful. Well,
Okay, who is the gold medal?
Except
Who's the
for
most
gold
powerful
medal.
Disney villain in
our gold
the context
medal
of their own
powerful
planets?
villain goes to Chernabog. Our number
I
one,
don't know who this is.
because, well, he's the devil.
Oh,
He's seen in the
Fantasia.
Fantasia film as being
he's the
able
devil.
to create and destroy, showing neither joy nor anger as he sentenced the creatures that served him. to a
Okay,
fiery fate.
literal
We see
Satan?
him as
No,
the
that makes
force of
sense.
Nature, calling about storms and breaking apart the earth at will. And yes, he's described as Satan and has been described as Disney's best representation of pure evil.
He absolutely deserves the top spot. Well, now you know the strongest Disney villains from weak to powerful. Make sure you subscribe to the second channel if you have not already, and subscribe to Wicked Binge. I'll link it in the description.